Hi everyone, welcome to our final chapter book sneak peek. For tonight, I chose a book, and I have to say, I have a teenage daughter and a preteen son, and there have been some pretty robust discussions in our home about dress codes. So this one jumped out at me, and it's called Dress Coded. And it's written by Carrie Firestone and published by G.P. Putnam's Sons, which is an imprint of Penguin Random House. And I'll read you the blurb on the inside. It's not very long. Molly Frost is fed up because Olivia was yelled at for wearing a tank top. Because Liza got dress coded and Molly didn't, even though they were wearing the exact same outfit. Because when Jessica was pulled over by the principal and missed a math quiz, her teacher gave her an F. Because it's impossible to find shorts that are longer than her fingertips. Because girls' bodies are not a distraction. Because middle school, it's hard enough. And so Molly starts a podcast where girls can tell their stories. And before long, her small rebellion swells into a revolution. Because now the girls are standing up for what's right, and they are not backing down. So we'll read a chapter together and get introduced. And this one, for those of you who don't enjoy traditional chapters and prefer like a diary style, this one might be a fun one to pick up. It's big chunks of it are written as the text to the podcast. So I found it kind of engaging. So we'll start with Dress Coded, a podcast, episode 1. This is my first podcast, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I've only listened to 2 podcasts in my life. One was about famous guitarists, and the other was about Southern cooking. Neither prepared me for what I'm about to say. But I feel like this is the best way to tell the real story about what happened to make the entire Fisher Middle School 8th grade hate Olivia Bonaventura. It's time for the truth. Me. My name is Molly Frost, and this is episode 1 of Dress Coded, a podcast, the real story behind the dress code disaster at Fisher Middle School. The whole incident happened in the Fisher Flower Garden, right next to the Mountain of Kindness rocks, Mrs. Tucker's pet project. I was there, I saw the whole thing, and now I'm sitting here with Olivia. Hi, Olivia, do you want to give the background? Olivia. You can give the background, Molly. Me. Are you sure it's your story? Olivia. You were a witness. Me. Okay, well, it all began last Wednesday. I woke up late in a panic because I was already missing first period and my mom was at an appointment, so I had to cut through the woods to the back path of our school. When I got to the garden, which for you non-Fisher listeners was planted in honor of the 6 Fisher graduates who died in wars, I stopped to tie my shoe. I looked up, and that's when I saw you standing in front of Mr. Dern and Mr. Coachman. I still remember Mr. Dern and Dr. Coachman. I still remember Dr. Coachman's face was bright red, and Mr. Dern was pointing his finger at you, and you were crying. Silence. Olivia. Molly, can you pause it for a minute? Off air. I'm already beginning to think Dress Coded, a podcast, was a mistake. Olivia seems very uncomfortable. Are you okay? I say, checking to make sure the recorder is off. She nods. Maybe we should just forget about this. Pearl says the story will die by high school graduation. Olivia, I can't let everyone hate you for something that wasn't your fault. It's just not right. People need to know what happened. I'm going to stop there. I know that's a really short sneak peek, but I really, really want you to discover what happened and how it played out on your own. Again, this one is called Dress Coded, and it's written by Carrie Firestone. So again, link in the Facebook description for tonight, and you should be able to jump right to the catalog and place a hold. This is one that I had trouble putting down, and I would love to hear your feedback on if you're interested once you pick it up. Thanks for joining us, and take care. So I'm back for I don't know if I would call it a sneak peek, but maybe a little introduction. And I found 4 more books that were in my pile of what to read this week to you guys. And I just wanted to give you a quick rundown on them in case you're interested in them, because there's really some phenomenal new chapter books, both for emergent readers and for kids who love to read and can power through the longest of chapter books. One of the ones that I chose is Jacqueline Woodson, and she writes both picture books and chapter books. And this one is called Before the Ever After. And it's published by Nancy Paulson Books, which is an imprint of Penguin Random House. And I'm going to read you the blurb on the inside of the cover. And this one is definitely emotional, but it's a fantastic read. For as long as ZJ can remember, his dad has been everyone's hero. A popular pro football star, he's as beloved to the neighborhood kids as he is to millions of sports fans. But lately his dad's forgetting stuff and he's turned moody. The doctors think it might be because he's had so many concussions, but they're not sure how to help, and that stings. So does the day his dad embarrasses him in front of his friends. ZJ's scared and has lots of questions. Will his friends stop coming over now? Will his father ever get better? And are their glory days gone forever? For now, though, ZJ's just doing his best to get by, taking comfort in his music and his friends who do have his back. Somehow, whatever's coming next doesn't seem half as scary with them cheering him on. This is not a long book, so it'll make a quick read for big readers, and for those who maybe don't read as much, this is a great chapter book to pick up, both because the subject and because of the way that it's written. And it's written as a series of incredibly short chapters, which are essentially like poems. So you can pick it up, read a couple books, and then put it down and go back to it when you're ready. So the next one I picked up is another shorter read, and it's a fun bridge for those who have been sticking to like the Dumb Diary style or graphic novels and want to try a chapter book. It's not very long. It's definitely text with the odd little illustration, but this one looks like lots of fun, and it's called The Derby Daredevils. And this one in particular is Shelley Struggles to Shine. And it's by Kit Rosewater and illustrated by Sophie Escabas. And let's see, published by Amulet Books. So this one says, now part of the official Junior Roller Derby League, the Derby Daredevils are ready to compete in their first tournament. Kenzie starts writing new gameplays, Bree works on her speed, and Tomoko sharpens her blocking skills. Jules fearlessly hip checks everyone in sight, but Shelley, she isn't sure what she's best at. In hopes of taking home the tournament's Star Skater Award, Shelley transforms doodles from her sketchbook into extra special gear for the Daredevils. But not everything works as well as Shelley imagined, and she can't get the teams on board. Without the gear, how will Shelley shine on the track? With high energy illustrations and lots of roller derby action, this is actually book 2 in the series, which got me kind of hooked on it. So now I am going to go back to book 1, and I will link both book 1 and book 2 in the Facebook post for you. And so another Canadian one, little quick sneak peek of The Jigsaw Puzzle King. This one is by Gina McMurky Barber, and it's a Dundurn Books publication. And on the back, when you're new in school, all you want is to fit in. When 11-year-old Warren and his family move to a new city, his twin brother, who has Down syndrome, attracts too much attention for Warren's liking. Benny's different and doesn't care about it, but while Benny may be oblivious to those who are curious or uneasy with him, Warren notices every single smirk, comment, and sideways glance. Warren is weary of flip-flopping between trying to be just like everyone else and being the protective brother of a boy with special needs. Sometimes he thinks his life would be easier if he had no brother, but what he really needs is to stop worrying about what other people think. I would consider this a realistic fiction, and I am sure there are plenty of kids out there that can identify with being the one in a family who sometimes feels embarrassed by someone they love, and how to develop, I guess, a thick skin and to realize that it's not about what other people think. So again, this one is the Jigsaw Puzzle King. It's not very long. So let's say about 140 pages. No pictures in this one, but it's a great read. And for my final quick pick choice tonight, Margaret Dillaway's 5 Things About Ava Andrews. And so this one is another Balser and Bray. And this is about an 11-year-old girl named Ava Andrews. Ava Andrews has a Technicolor interior with a gray shell. On the inside, she bubbles with ideas and plans. On the outside, everyone except her best friend Zelia thinks she doesn't talk, or worse, they think she's stuck up. What nobody knows is that Ava has invisible disabilities. She has anxiety, and she has a heart condition. Ava hopes middle school will be a fresh start, but when Zelia moves across the country and Ava's Nana Linda pushes her to speak up about social issues, Ava withdraws further. So Ava is shocked when her writing abilities impress her classmates and they invite her to join their improv group, making up stories on stage. Determined to prove she can control her anxiety, she joins and discovers a whole new side of herself and what it means to be on a team. But as Ava's self-confidence blossoms, her relationship with Zelia strains, and she learns that it isn't enough just to raise your voice. It's how and why you use it that matters. Given all the challenges of COVID and the way school has had to adapt and change this year, I am sure there are plenty of you out there that, if you didn't have anxiety before, are feeling some now. And I know that lots of kids can probably identify with having disabilities that are not necessarily visible, and you still have to fight those challenges every day without people looking at you and maybe initially understanding. So if you want to pick up 5 Things About Ava Andrews, I will put a link as well in the Facebook post for this one. I really enjoyed diving into these middle school chapter books, and I want to encourage adults and kids alike to pick them up. I think that you'll find some new favorites. Thanks for joining me, and have a great week ahead. Take care.